Tonight, as the war in Ukraine rages, President Biden welcoming Finland and Sweden as they made their bids to join NATO official today. Biden will meet with the leaders of both countries tomorrow at the White House. On the ground, Russia claiming almost 1,000 fighters have surrendered at the Azovstal steel plant in Mariupol. The fate of the fighters remains uncertain, with Moscow signalling it may try them as war criminals. And in Kyiv, the first war crimes trial of a captured Russian soldier resumed, the defendant pleading guilty to shooting a 62-year-old civilian, the man's grieving widow, in court. The soldier now facing life in prison. It's just the first of many alleged war crimes cases in Ukraine.
Japan's Nuclear Regulation Authority has granted initial approval to release water irradiated by the Fukushima nuclear plant disaster into the sea. The agency says there are no safety issues, but would make its final approval after hearing public opinion. Last year, Tokyo approved a plan to release more than 1 million tons of treated wastewater starting 2023. It has sparked concerns and objections from local communities and neighbors China and South Korea.
This morning, a Massachusetts man is in isolation after being diagnosed with the first case of monkeypox in the U.S. this year. The U.K., Portugal, and Spain have reported unusual monkeypox clusters. That information helped diagnose the man in Massachusetts, who's said to be doing well. Monkeypox is more common in Africa, often from animal to people transmission. Doctors say the Massachusetts patient traveled to Canada recently, not an area associated as high risk for monkeypox. Last year, the U.S. reported only 2 cases of the disease, both associated with travel.
Days after incidents of mass shootings were reported in New York and California, violence has now erupted in Philadelphia, where unidentified assailants opened fire at the Temple University. 5 people have been injured during the mass firing incidents, out of which one 28-year-old male was shot 14 times and is in extremely critical condition. The victims were 3 women and 2 men. And as of now, the university believes that none of the people involved were its students. Authorities are still conducting their investigation. The suspect has been apprehended with the help of campus police, while the search for the second shooter is still underway.
The Israeli media report in the Haaretz newspaper is very specific on detail. It says that the Israeli army police are not going to investigate it. The reason for that is because it would be a criminal investigation, and that in this current political climate is simply untenable for the Israelis. They cannot investigate an serving Israeli army soldier in an active military operation. That's something they just won't do. The Israeli army don't want it because it will be something that'll give the Israeli soldiers pause for thought next time they do something, if they're able to be prosecuted for anything that happens.
Taxi Association WATA says 4 of its taxi drivers in Johannesburg have been shot and killed. The incident happened, or should I say occurred yesterday afternoon, prompting the association to halt its operations today.
This hole is about 2,100 miles from Chicago, but tonight this ladder marks the first steps to lucrative U.S. drug markets, according to federal authorities who discovered a well-built tunnel spanning south of the border, the other end in Tijuana, Mexico.
It's estimated to be about 1,744 feet long and 61 feet deep, with a diameter of about 4 feet at its widest point. It has reinforced walls, a rail system, and electricity for ventilation.
Homeland Security investigations identified the tunnel 300 feet north of the border during a stakeout of a suspected cocaine stash house.
In the Canadian capital, a king in waiting, the Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall in Ottawa, honouring Canadian veterans and victims of a war still raging. Charles and Camilla requested to meet with members of the Ukrainian community. 2 days into a 3-day tour.
Your Royal Highness. Thank you.
Charles's 19th visit to Canada.
It's always a joy to come back.
Weeks out from the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrating 70 years on the throne.
Can I give you a bottle?
Sure.
The question for Canadians, will they accept Charles as their king?